When I think of RUF and the role it's played in my life, I can't even begin to grasp how big of an impact it's had on me. When I first came here, I wasn't in the best of places spiritually. What kept me coming back was the people here, the people who would become my friends. They've seemed to always be there for me, through the ups and the downs. They've loved me even when I didn't love myself. They were patient with me. They've helped me to rediscover who God is. So many of the things I've learned here I'll take with me far beyond college. I knew enough about God to get by in the small town that I grew up in before college. Coming here has given me the chance to see Him at work from a completely different perspective. I've learned how to better love those around me as well as myself. Through all the events and the retreats and conferences and meetings with Ben and the interns and all my friends here, I'm a different person now than I was when I started college. If I could go back and give my freshman self some advice, I'd talk about how in the next 4 years, I'm going to come across a campus ministry, and the people that I meet there are going to be the best part about college. I would talk about how my time with them is limited, so make the best of it. I'd say to take advantage of the system that's in place here, establish relationships and get to know the people here. Meet with Ben, meet with the interns, meet with the other students. Ask the hard questions that you're too afraid to ask your family and friends back home. There will be times when you feel awkward and uncomfortable, but you need to push past all of that and step out of your comfort zone. Progress is hardly ever made by the people who stick to their comfort zone. Be vulnerable with people, be genuine, be honest with them. You don't have to tell them exactly what you're struggling with, but at least let them know that there is something you struggle with. Stop trying to understand as much as possible about a situation before getting involved, because that'll only keep you from getting involved. Don't rely on your feelings to tell you where to go or what to do next. Many of the closest friends I've made here I would have loved to have gotten to know sooner, and many others I would have loved to have gotten to know in general, but didn't because of how often I'd stay in my comfort zone. A lot of this can go along with the advice I'd want to give to the newcomers in RUF, or maybe even to the people in RUF who've been coming for a while and just haven't seemed to click with anyone in any major way. I was like that during my first year or so. I would encourage you to do with others what God does with us. Meet them where they are and allow them to meet you where you are. Anyone who's ever been a part of RUF here can close their eyes and think back to the time they spent here. For each of us, the sets of faces that make up RUF are going to be a little different. As time goes on, the pictures we look to now and recognize as just last month or last semester will become old photographs. We may not be able to remember what names belong to what faces, or where this person's from, or what that person's major was, but I think for all of us, there's at least one person whose influence has been felt the most. And I know I speak for a lot of us when I say that that person is Ben. When I was a freshman, Ben was starting as the campus minister here. I went to the first large group he did. He talked about how some studies have shown that 2 of the loneliest groups of people are elderly people in nursing homes and college freshmen. I'm sure I would have discovered for myself how true that study was if I hadn't continued to come to RUF. Thank you, Ben, for all that you've sacrificed to be here for us. You may not have always known what I was talking about whenever we got lunch, but just know that you've helped me not feel alone. And I'm sure I'm not the only one you've done that for. You're truly an incredible example of how God calls us to love others.